There's nothing scarier than when you look on the cover and it's a fucking monster doing a face. Nothing scarier than that to me. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Movie Epidemic show. Today we are doing more 31 Days of Horror. Today we've got some grave encounters. We have some grave encounters for you. Grave Encounters 1, let's get into it, man. The Vicious Brothers. I don't know if that's their legal name. I don't know if their legal name is Vicious, but this is a film by the Vicious Brothers, and it's kind of a weird one. It kind of falls into that early 2010s shit that like the CGI was almost good. They were still trying to do found footage for some reason. It's a movie about like a parody of those ghost hunter shows, and we've seen that done a million times by now. There's almost, to me, I think there may be more ghost hunter shows parody movies than there are actual ghost hunter shows. I think that might be true. I think the genre of parody ghost hunter shows that find actual ghost horror movies actually outweigh the amount of ghost hunting shows that have been and are on television. I actually think that's true. This time, you lock yourself in a little abandoned asylum. It's a scary place. Asylums are a scary place to put your movie in. That's why so many do it. So this movie starts off with producer Jerry Hartfeld saying, "This is some footage that was sent to us. I swear to God it hasn't been edited. This is exactly how it was." And if you've seen like Hell House LLC, if you've seen like any of these movies, this is exactly the same premise. It's a premise that's been done a million times. Was this the first one that did it? I don't know. I suspect not, though. Now, I was wondering why like right away everybody had a thick Canadian accent for this movie that's supposed to be set in Maryland. And then I looked it up and it was like shot in Coquitlam, BC at the Riverview Hospital. There's some sort of Riverview Hospital in British Columbia that this was shot at. It's a spooky location, that's for sure. That is for sure. Certainly scary stuff, especially at night. And you know what makes it even scarier? That goddamn found footage, green night vision glow. Nothing is scarier than that to me. For some reason, that is just burned in my brain as something that is scary. I knew as soon as I saw the cover, I was going to be scared of this movie. And I was for a bit. I was for quite a bit of this movie. When they do, like, at the beginning, they kind of give you some lore of the hospital, and, like, this guy, Arthur Freakton, that was, like, the head psychologist. He was a lobotomist guy. He killed a lot of patients. And they kind of do it in, like, this, like, black and white archival footage thing, and it looks so bad. It looks clearly like they filmed it in 2011. Costumes aren't even good. It's not on film grain or anything. It's just funny that's the archival footage that they put up right up front. They're like, this movie's real for sure. Let's suspend your disbelief a little bit by watching this shitty archival footage. So basically, they talk to the caretaker, and he's like, "We'll lock you in here. You'll film the thing. We'll get you out at 6 a.m. one night. No worries. Nothing scary ever happens here." He shows them like the service tunnels. He shows them like the upstairs. Shows them everywhere around. It's like it's a big place, but it's not that big. You can find your way around. But immediately, this movie turns into like some sort of weird time loop abandoned asylum movie because they're running around. They don't know where they're going. They're busting through doors that go to nowhere. It's kind of a scary thing. It's kind of a scary thing. There's a bunch of other characters in this movie. There's like Houston Gray, who's like the paranormal expert guy. He looks like a Rolling Stones type character. He's like, "Hello, I know about paranormal stuff." And it turns out he's just an actor. Then you've got the tech guy who's always smoking a cigarette. That's funny. That's always funny. You got TC, who's like the camera operator. None of these characters matter that much, is the problem. They all just get eaten. Like, pretty fast. They disappear. There's, I guess, arguably the main guy that's like the host of the show. He's fine. None of these are very strong actors. Lance is the main guy. This movie is quite scary in the build-up, because I think concept-wise alone, it's pretty good. Like the abandoned asylum is always scary, especially when like things are tipping over. You're watching a fake ghost show that they admit is fake, and they're getting everybody to act like it's real, and then real shit happens, and that's good in concept. It's been done before. It's been done again better, but it's good in concept. They don't fumble that part. That part is actually very scary. Like the build up to them running through this place, and as it gets scarier, their minds drop. They don't know how long they've been there. They've been there for a long time. People start disappearing. It gets bad once you start seeing the ghosts, because this is a movie that uses 2011 CGI very badly. Very, very badly. And like, if you look at not this cover, but like the one that you see on Amazon Prime where I watched this, you see like the guy with the big mouth. You see like the guy with the big mouth on there. And that's like in this movie for like 1 second, and it scared me initially. And then once I started seeing more of the CGI, I'm like, oh, this is not a scary movie anymore. It's not really that scary anymore. Because, like CGI arms coming out of the wall. Not there. Not there. The fear really comes in the part where they're lost in this hospital. And they don't lean into that at all. They're just lost in there forever. Because once you check in, eventually they get like the hospital armbands, and that's kind of cool. Once you check into this mental hospital, you don't check out. So overall, I don't think it's like that good of a movie. Especially in the third act, it's a little sloppy. But I do think there's some good ideas here. To me, the best thing is on the one of the covers, the one that you see on the screen here, is that service tunnel set. That's just so scary. It's so long. There's like the pipes. Like that is a scary place. This movie really biffs the third ending. Once he starts running around, he's in the service elevators. He finds like Dr. Friedkin's like office, where like they're working on lobotomy patients, and then all of a sudden there's like a ghost crew of doctors working on a patient, and it's just like, it's confusing. I don't think they really knew what they were doing with this. There's definitely some real scares in this. They're mostly jump scares, but there are some fucked up shits, like where he's trapped in the service tunnel and he's like killing a rat and eating it. Like there are fucked up things in this movie. And when it comes to found footage, this is like how you would do it. And I know this movie was like praised initially when it came out, probably because it felt fresh at the time, but to me, I've just seen so many imitations of it, and this isn't a particularly great execution of it anyway. I like it okay, let's say that. A perfectly fine 3 stars, but not much more than that. It's just a classic low budget paranormal activity thing, you know? It's fine. I wanted it to be scarier. I did want it to be scarier, but it ended up being okay. So that's this one. All right, everybody, we're diving into Grave Encounters 2. Grave Encounters 2. When the mouth opens, dude. When the mouth opens, that's so scary. We all know that's scary. Just like how we watched The Blair Witch 2 earlier this week, Grave Encounters 2 takes once again the meta approach to the film. They set Grave Encounters in kind of a world where it actually does exist, and they have a film crew, this time students, go and check out the asylum to see if it's real or not. So this is a movie that it sets itself up with like some pretty good intentions, and really, if it wanted to, it could have broken away a little bit from the original film. It starts off with YouTube reviewers, much like myself, reviewing the first film. Almost. Why is it so bright in here? Hold on, it's so bright in here. What's going on? What's going on outside? All right, well, I'm just going to have to look like a scary ghost for this one. That's fine. Oh, wait, see, the sun went away again. Weird. All right, I should probably close that window, but let's not worry about that. So it starts off with the YouTube reviewers saying that the first movie had terrible CGI, terrible acting. Essentially, it just isn't a very good movie. And the main character of this second film is a film school snob who explains that he doesn't care. He doesn't care for new horror movies and their jump scares and CGI, and wants to go back to making films with practical effects and actual scares. Now, with those two things right there, those two things, the YouTube reviews stating that the first one was bad, and the character that wants to make good horror movies, that sets you up to fix all of your mistakes from the first one. And for most of the film, they really do try and fix all of those things. Like, there's less terrible CGI every time there's a scary monster or something's happening. And the acting is still bad, but it's slightly better. It's not so corny. It is a better version of the first movie. That just so happens that you need to see the first movie to understand anything in the back half of this movie. That is for sure. So in this meta world, they examined the people that were in the first film and realized all of them are missing. They haven't done anything since that movie, and they find out from the producer of the film that it was in fact a real movie. So they decide to go to the asylum in Vancouver where it was shot. Like I said in the last one, it was clearly shot in Canada. And this one, they do mention that they are going to Canada. In the first one, there's like a caretaker, and in this one, they're like, this guy killed himself 6 years ago. I hope that guy didn't actually kill himself, used that fact for the movie, because that'd be very fucked up if they did that. That'd be very, very fucked up if they did. Now, this takes like at least half an hour to 40 minutes of them establishing that they are even going to go to the asylum. And in that time, that's the part that probably is the worst part of the movie. Once they do get to the asylum, it does a little bit become a rehash of the first one, but there are enough differences and actual scares in this one to make that section quite a bit better. The third section of the movie is where this fucking goes off the rails. The whole time they're looking for Sean, who was the protagonist of the first film, and they literally do find him. He thinks he's been trapped there for 9 years, even though it's 9 months after the movie came out. In this time, he's devolved into some sort of golem character. And this is like, even for this movie, this is too crazy. This is too crazy of a thing, because he's like, I need to get through this door. And it's just like a freestanding door with a chain around it. And he's like, this is how you get out. And the lore of this one is very suspicious, because it seems similar to the first one, but I don't really know. There's like an invisible creature writing things on the wall. It's like, get the films, finish the tape. Gotta wait for a little cloud. Gotta wait for a little cloud. It's so bright all of a sudden, gotta wait for a cloud. The running around the asylum, I think, is always fun. And they actually do show some more scary stuff. If you see the poster, you know the long guy with the really tall guy with the gaping mouth. He actually chases them around in this one, and that's the shit right there. They don't get as much good content in the best set of all time, the service tunnel, which the first one, that's one thing I liked about the first one a lot, was that goddamn service tunnel. So good. Don't get as much in there, but they do end up doing a lot of similar scares. Again, I don't understand, like, the curse of the doctor that owns the asylum is still like a ghost there. I still don't get any of that section of the movie. Eventually, the main character of this film, Alex, realizes that the only way he can get out is if he kills all of his friends. So he ends up killing his friends and walks through the door and gives the tapes to our friend, the film producer. And this time he makes sure to state, don't worry, this movie's fake. So they're trying to do like the opposite thing, the opposite marketing ploy of Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity, where they're like, this is for sure real. Don't say that it's not real, because it's for sure real. It's the opposite of that. They're like, it's real, but we're gonna say that it's not real so that I don't get sued. Very fun stuff. I actually think this one's about as good as the other one. It's not as cheesy, which I like. It's more serious. There's still some ridiculous bullshit in it, but I think this one is probably just as good. I'll give this one 3 stars. So that's it for this episode, everybody. If you got any comments, leave them below. Make sure you subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Movie Epidemic. Talk to me there. You can talk to me here. I don't really care. Leave me a message, give me a like, and we'll see what we've got tomorrow. I'm sure we've got more horror for this 31 Days of Horror.
Why don't you play us something, baby? Why don't you play us something, baby?
feels so good.